Hello and welcome to the Check Rare podcast. My name is Peter Suzuki, and the topic of today's discussion is Alpha-Mannosidosis, a rare inherited lysosomal storage disorder. This podcast is the fourth of a four-part series in which we have focused on alpha-mannosidosis, a genetic disorder characterized by immune deficiency, facial and skeletal abnormalities, hearing impairment, and intellectual deficit. In this last part of our series, we will be talking to Rhonda Skipper, a mom of two boys, Dell and Matt, who have this rare disease. Hello, Rhonda. Thank you for your time today. Can you introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Rhonda Skipper, and I live in Coates, North Carolina, and I have two sons who have Alpha-Mannosidosis, and they are 44 and 40 years old.
What is Alpha-Mannosidosis?
It is a genetic rare disorder. It is in both of my two sons. They're missing a certain enzyme in their body, causes all these different types of disabilities and medical issues. And it's a progressive disorder. Every year they get worse and worse normally, if there's no intervention, which as of right now, there's no cure, but there are some possibilities, as you know, on the horizon now.
What were your thoughts when your boys were first diagnosed with alpha-mannosidosis?
Well, I had never heard of it before at all. My two sons, Dale and Matt, were diagnosed at the age of 9 and 14 years old. And they had to do a series of genetic tests, and that's what it come back. And the doctors never heard of it. I said, well, here it is. This is what he has. It won't Google it back then. You just kind of researched it. And, they're like, cannot find anything, nothing. But now you could put it in Google search and it'll come up, everything about it.
How old was your oldest boy, Dell, when he was diagnosed?
Well, he was 14. They thought he had some hearing issues. And he had, of course, that can cause some learning disabilities. So he was in a special class. So that's what they were thinking all along, that, the learning disability came from the hearing loss and the speech impediments and things like that. But he was 14 when we went to a special hospital in North Carolina, and he was diagnosed. And I was like, wow, I knew there was something going on, but I was really happy to learn that it was finally diagnosed, but I was not happy to learn that it had no cure.
What are some of your son's symptoms?
Only issues they had at the time were the hearing and speech and the learning disability. So, but I always felt like there was something else missing, And then when they were diagnosed, I was just so happy. And especially to find out there were some other people in the world that did have that rare disease.
What year was your son's diagnosed?
When they were diagnosed, it was in 1993. So, that's like 30 years ago. But now what I understand is they have tests when a child is born that they can do to see if he has this or not.
What are some of the challenges caring for your boys?
It's a day-to-day thing you have to do. And, if they live past the age of 18, when other people are feeling the empty nest syndrome, I never had to experience that, which is a good thing. And in a way, it's a bad thing. But I'm just saying, he's been with me all along, Matthew and Dale with my husband. So they're always looking out for their needs first, of course, because they have to have someone to take care of them and to look out for their needs. Well, my oldest one, because he had such severe disabilities, he was, in the last 10 years, we had to place him in a 24/7 medical facility for special needs. So we see him at least once a week, sometimes two if we're able to. He's 65 miles away. But through the years, of course, with Dale, he had the moderate type, which has affected everything: his walking, talking, sitting ability, now even hearing, and now it's even affecting his swallowing. So he's not able to eat solid foods. He can eat a little bit, but his main food source is through a feeding tube. And of course, through the years it will affect their speech and hearing, whereas he was able to speak and talk and all that, but now he's not able to. He'll say sentences sometimes, but we go visit with him and bring him things and try to make his life just as good as it can be. He has really good caregivers there. I really would not know what to do without them there, because he really does need 24/7 help. But my youngest son, he had the mild case, and his speech and hearing has been affected. He wears hearing aids. He does have some learning disabilities. He has an upright walker, which now he's having problems with walking, which he has over the years, but in the last 3 years or so, he's had to resort to a walker. And he does have a wheelchair, because sometimes it's better for him to use a wheelchair than use a walker. But right now he's able to dress and take care of himself and feed himself. He has no problems feeding himself or things like that, but he does have to have supervision.
Tell us a little more about your boys, Dell and Matt.
Well, that's one thing about Dale. He has always retained his sense of humor and his smiles. So he loves comedy movies. He loves action movies. He's always been a fan of Rambo, but he loves just about any type of movie. And at one time, he was able to do his games and stuff, but he's not able to do that now. Matthew still loves to do the games. Of course, he likes all of those, but he also loves to watch wrestling. Yes, and go to wrestling matches and things like that. He loves to do that.
What specialists do your boys see?
Of course, when my son, he sees all the neurologists there, physical therapy, occupational therapist, speech therapist, psychologist. And Matthew, he sees his regular doctor. He does see a heart doctor. He sees a specialist dentist, because in his case, that disorder has caused the gums to take over his teeth. So he has to have them cut back. He just had it done this Monday. He had to have stitches where they go into his gums and cut back his gums and put stitches in it. It's just one of the things that he's had to have done that Dele never had.
Rhonda, what advice would you have for newly diagnosed families?
There's a lot of hope, and not to give up, and just take one day at a time. And it will be stressful, but I would say find support, because you definitely need support.
When did you first seek out support of the Alpha-Mannosidosis community?
And this is in 1993. Social worker from the hospital said, well, here is a group of people that just started, but these people have families with this storage disease. And we were able to get online and talk to each other and send each other's messages, but it was very good to see that Dale and Matthew were not alone, that these children that they had all favored. And it's remarkable. They all have the same look, the beautiful look. Well, these kids who have the special needs storage disease all have a certain look. So they all look alike, which is, it's beautiful to see. They don't feel all alone. So I have somebody who looks like me, So that was very important. Yes, it was.
Well, thank you, Rhonda, for your time today and for telling us about your boys.
Well, thank y'all.